Commercial insurance for small businesses is basically the safety net that keeps one accident, lawsuit, or disaster from wiping you out. It's not the fun part of running a business. Nobody gets excited about insurance, but it's one of those things that feels optional until the day something happens, and then suddenly it's the most important thing you've ever bought. The hard part is that small business insurance can feel confusing because there's different policy types, weird terms, and a lot of it depends. Still, if you run a business that touches customers, property, vehicles, employees, or data, which is most businesses, insurance is something you should seriously consider. At a high level, commercial insurance is coverage designed for business risk, not personal risk. Your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover your business inventory sitting in the garage, usually. And your personal auto policy might not cover accidents if you're using the car for business deliveries or client visits. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but you really don't want to guess. Business insurance is built around the idea that business has unique exposures. Customers slip and fall, employees get hurt, your product causes damage, a client claims you messed up, your building catches fire, your computer system gets hacked, and so on. So, do you need commercial insurance? The honest answer is, as soon as you start doing real business activity where there's something that could go wrong and cost you money you can't easily absorb. If you have customers walking to your space, if you go to clients' homes, if you sell products, if you sign contracts, if you have employees, if you drive for work, if you store inventory or equipment, if you have a lease, you probably need some type of coverage. Also, a lot of times you need it because someone requires it. Landlords require it, clients require it, vendors require it, contracts require it. If you want bigger jobs, you often need proof of insurance to even get in the door. The most common foundation policy for small business is general liability insurance. This is one that covers basic third-party claims. If someone slips in your store, if you accidentally damage a client's property, if you're accused of causing bodily injury or property damage, general liability can help cover legal costs and settlements up to the policy limits. Even if the claim is bogus, legal defense can be expensive, so general liability is often the first policy small businesses buy. It doesn't cover everything, but it covers a lot of the common oops situations. Next, commercial property insurance. This covers your business property, the building if you own it, and the contents inside like equipment, inventory, furniture, computers, tools, signage, etc. If there's a fire, theft, vandalism, or certain weather damage, property insurance can help pay to repair or replace things. If you rent a space, the landlord's insurance covers the building, not the stuff inside. So if your inventory gets ruined in a fire, the landlord's policy isn't paying you. That's on you unless you had property coverage. Some small businesses operate from home and assume the homeowner's policy covers business items. Sometimes it covers a small amount, sometimes none, and there are often limits. So home-based businesses still need to check this. Many small businesses bundle general liability and property together in what's called a BOP, a business owner's policy. A BOP is basically a package that can be cheaper than buying separate policies, and it often includes some extra coverages like business interruption. Business interruption insurance is huge when it matters. If a covered event like a fire forces your business to shut down temporarily, business interruption can help replace lost income and cover certain expenses while you're closed. It's not for every situation, but if your business depends on being open, retail, restaurants, salon, gym, etc., it can be a lifesaver. Then there's professional liability insurance, also called errors and admissions. This is for businesses that provide services or advice. If a client claims you made a mistake, misleading something, gave bad advice, or failed to deliver professional services properly, E&O can help cover legal defenses and damages. Think consultants, marketing agencies, accountants, real estate professionals, IT services, designers, and lots of the other service businesses. General liability doesn't cover professional mistakes. That's a different risk. If you're in a service business, E&O is often more relevant than people realize. Workers' compensation is another big one, and it's often legally required if you have employees. Workers' comp covers employee injuries or illness that happen due to work. It can cover medical bills, lost wages, and rehabilitation. Even if you have just one employee, your state may require workers' comp. If you do not have it and someone gets hurt, you can be in a really bad spot financially and legally. Also, some clients require proof of workers' comp before they hire you, especially in construction, maintenance, and other trades. Commercial auto insurance is needed if you use vehicles for business. If your business owns the vehicle, you almost certainly need commercial auto. If you use your personal vehicle for business, you may need a business use endorsement or commercial policy depending on how you use it. This is one people mess up all the time. They assume personal auto coverage covers everything. Then there's an accident and the insurance company asks, were you using the vehicle for business? If the answer is yes, coverage can get complicated. Better to have it set up correctly ahead of time. Cyber liability insurance is becoming more common even for small businesses. If your store customer data, take online payments, or run e-commerce store or rely on computers to operate, cyber risk is real. Cyber insurance can help with those costs related to data breaches, ransomware, customer notifications, legal fees, and recovery. People think no one will hack my small business, but small businesses can be targeted because they often have weaker security. You don't need to be a huge company to get hit. There's also product liability, which sometimes part of general liability can be a bigger deal if you manufacture or sell physical products. If your products cause injury or property damage, the product liability coverage can protect you. This matters for e-commerce brands, food companies, supplement brands, manufacturers, and even some resellers, depending on what you sell. If you're selling something that could hurt someone, you want to know you're covered. Umbrella insurance is another option. This is an extra liability coverage that sits on top of your other policies and increases the limits. Small businesses sometimes buy umbrella coverage when they're doing large contracts, working with bigger clients, or just want the extra protection. Lawsuits can get expensive fast, and standard limits might not feel like enough for certain industries. So what do these insurance companies actually do? They spread risk. You pay a premium. In exchange, they agree to cover certain losses described in the policy. They also provide legal defense in many cases, which is a huge part of the value. A lawsuit can cost tens of thousands just to defend, even if you did nothing wrong. Insurance isn't just paying claims, it's also paying lawyers and managing those processes. That's why having the right coverage is important. The wrong policy might leave you with holes. How do you choose the right coverage as a small business? Start with your actual risk. What could realistically happen that would cost you big money? If customers come to your location, liability matters. If you have expensive tools or inventory, property matters. If you provide advice or services, E&O matters. If you have employees, workers' comp matters. If you drive for work, commercial auto insurance matters. If you store data or do online sales, cyber matters. So you don't have to buy every policy under the sun, but you do want covered for the big risks that could end your business. Then think about limits and deductibles. Limits are the maximum the insurer will pay. Deductibles are what pay before coverage kicks in. Lower deductibles usually mean higher premiums. Higher deductibles mean lower premiums, but more out of pocket if something happens. Many small businesses choose a deductible they can afford in an emergency, not a fantasy deductible. Finding insurance usually means working with insurance broker or agent, especially if you're not sure what you need. A good broker can compare quotes from multiple carriers and help tailor coverage. But if you still want to read what you're buying, because not all policies are equal, cheaper isn't always better. Sometimes cheap means exclusion or low limits. Ask what's excluded, Ask what a claim looks like. Ask how certificates of insurance work. Ask about additional insured. These details matter in real business life. Commercial insurance is basically about keeping your business alive when something goes wrong. It's not about expecting disaster every day. It's about knowing that if one bad day happens, you would lose everything. The right insurance makes you more stable, more credible with clients, and more able to take opportunities without fear. It's boring, yes, but boring protection is something the smartest thing a small business owner can buy.